At this particular point, I would like to say, oh, we have a hitbox person in here. Hi, hitbox person. At this
Oh,
particular point,
serious.
at this point, before we hop into the spoiler show in par with, the stuff that I need to do for a regular show, thank you to Control Freak, BattleBox, Green Man Gaming, Gamerscope, Hitbox.tv, Official Frag Nation, and Steel Series for their support of the show, and thank you to all of the fans. That said, spoiler warning, spoiler territory. If you're not done with Metal Gear Solid 5, now is your time to, yeah, as Young said, get John Cena, get out of here. As
Yes. My sign language.
God damn, anybody who's somebody put these Metal Gear Solid clips up with the John Cena meme in them, and I'm hating every single one of them. I cannot wait for the dislike button on Facebook. I really, really can, because I watched some of the scenes and I'm like, man, I want to watch that scene again. Somebody put it up on YouTube. Here it is on Facebook, and so now I just kind of avoid any clip that's around 30 seconds long. I don't watch it. I'm not getting John Cena one more time. But my suggestion would be for anybody who likes to do those memes is bring back the Rick roll, please. Like,
please do not, do not suggest.
Don't bring that back. Don't bring that back.
Metal Gear Solid, it's like Rick roll year. Okay, we gotta have one more good year of Rick rolling.
Mission 51 DLC trailer. Rick rolled. Yeah.
They'll just have Ocelot doing
that
the
won't
dance
piss
all the
people
time.
off, more than they already are. What could go wrong?
So, spoiler territory, and here we go. Ronan, you finished the game, correct?
Yes.
Sorry, okay. I remember seeing a post that you finally finished it. So, Yang and I spoke a little bit about it during our last interview that we had and with Big Cake, and we had a small spoiler discussion. We wanted, to save the good stuff for when you were here. So,
I appreciate it.
We're gonna skip some of the smaller things. We nitpick some issues with the story length and that kind of stuff. But we want to talk about some of the main things that some people love, some people hate, and that's gonna start out right with. Let's just start out with the ending. Let's just start there because
Why
that's
not?
something
Yes.
we didn't really talk about. So again, as we kind of hinted at during the last episode, my opinion was I didn't like it from an execution standpoint. I understood what he was trying to do. And speaking of Kojima, I understand what he was trying to do, and I get the message, and I can appreciate it. But for me, interjecting a player character into the story wasn't necessarily the right move. As I said to Young, and I hate saying this, but I kind of would have rathered it been Gray Fox the whole time, as opposed to just a random person who's technically not random, but random in the sense that we've never heard about him, aka us,
Right.
in the game. So that's what I meant by random. I don't mean we're not a random person. Obviously, we played all the games, but this person is not developed in the story. We don't know the background of him. Maybe just said he's our best soldier. To me, I didn't like that, and the execution of the mission, the ending mission, just kind of being there as a selectable mission on the list, and not really a mission that leads into it that kind of triggers, okay, this is why you know the truth now. What triggers that event? The last mission I remember playing before that was, because you can play them out of order, was
Right.
An armored convoy mission where there's an armored convoy and you can extract it or you can blow it up. And
You mean the mission before that one?
the mission before the truth, yeah, the truth.
Yeah, that was okay. It kind of depends because for me, I believe it was, and of course this is spoilers, so I guess to talk about this.
Yeah.
For me, it was the quiet mission before I got to that point, which was you save Quiet from being kidnapped,
Right. Okay.
take down the convoy, stuff like that. That was the mission for me before I did the final mission.
Right. Yeah, I'm talking about the mission that leads into all of that.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah, and even, you make a good point, because even in the quiet mission, it doesn't explain why all of a sudden you know this.
Right.
So that's my problem, and a lot of people are getting on to me in the comment section and saying stuff like, why can't you understand this, that Kojima's doing this? I get it. That's my whole, that's why I'm not necessarily happy with it, because I understand it, and me, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. So, y'all, you want to recap where you were before we let Ronan get into it?
Yeah, I kind of know where you're coming from, Daily, where, the reason I play these video games is because I don't think I'm as extraordinary as Big Boss, say, for example. So
Right.
I don't want to be myself in a video game. I want to be Big Boss, who is more badass than I ever could be. And that's why I play these video games. But but at the same time, though, I didn't have as much of a problem with it as you did, Daly. I really, really appreciated what Kojima's trying to do. And it's something very unique that really you can only do with a video game. I mean, Kojima loves movies, but he integrated his love for cinema and then his love for gaming and then sort of meshed into this one really cool element that you don't really see anywhere else. And I found that to be really cool. But at the same time, it's not really what we wanted, right?
Right.
We asked for Big Boss's revenge story, his downfall, and instead we got to play Venom Snake, who is really us, and I'm not extraordinary like Big Boss, so why would I want to be myself in the game?
Right,
I totally understand that point of view. But I think when years later, people will look back at this game and go, Kojima did something really cool here. It may not be my favorite Metal Gear game or whatever they want to say. Like Metal Gear Solid 2, you played as Raiden, right? He wasn't as extraordinary as Solid Snake, and people gave it flack for that. But you look back to it now, years later, you kind of see what Kojima did with it, why he went that way, and how it all ties into the story and the ending and all that good stuff. This is like the new Metal Gear Solid 2, I feel like. Well, I do agree with the execution thing, though, where the ending just popped in, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Boom.
Like, where?
Yeah.
No build-up whatsoever. MGS2 had that whole crazy-ass sequence to build everything up to the point where they reveal the S3 plan and all that stuff. Right. So MGS2, from a rising action standpoint, I think really does surpass Metal Gear Solid 5, where in this one, Chapter 2 was quite barren. You repeated a lot of missions, and you didn't really get a lot of story development except for like the ending that came out of freaking nowhere. So in that sense, I wish they would have done a better job with that. But for the ending itself, it ties the loose ends. I mean, it just not in the way a lot of people expected.
Right.
That Venom Snake is the big boss in Metal Gear 1 and Outer Heaven and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of cool, how he did that, but at the same time, is it what we wanted? Probably not necessarily. So I think if Kojima wouldn't have, he showed too much, I feel, and people began to have their own preconceived notions of what this
like
game.
You said, it was kind of like an advertising thing. Like we thought that's what we were getting, and you made a really good point. Last show saying that.
And yet at the same time, I think it all was part of Kojima's plan. He went for this deception.
Of course.
Whether it's something that people appreciate and stuff, that's up to you guys to decide. I personally, again, I appreciate it, but it's not what I wanted. Like when you think, like, who does that? Starting from the Phantom Pain trailer back in VGA 2012, building up all this hype and all this sort of deception up until it's like the whole development cycle was part of the story of Phantom Pain. It's kind of crazy and really cool when you think about it. But I want to play as Big Boss. Like, I want to be him.
Yeah.
And
I felt like a lot of the stuff that we thought was going to be like the downfall of Big Boss, even if it's not him, never really came to fruition. Like we didn't really do a whole lot of bad stuff. Like I actually kind of felt like we were a good guy.
Controversial wise, he said there'd be a lot of taboos in this game, and
I don't really see that many. Like the child soldier thing.
Yeah,
I mean, you get like a couple missions with the child soldiers.
Yeah,
but you're nice to them. You free them. As opposed to killing, there's no option to kill them or save them. It's kind of just like we're going to pretend we killed them by recording that.
There's gunfire and then screaming.
Mission 51 might have been the taboo because at the end they like burned the whole place because of the virus, not the virus, the parasites. And I think that's the scene from the E3 2014 trailer where you see the kids burned up. And
you see him walking away.
Yeah, and that scene's just like, where the hell is that? I think that was Mission 51, and that certainly would have been like kind of controversial and kind of like, whoa, okay. But other than that, and the Paz vagina bomb, That's really all the taboos.
There was no reason to zoom in on the fingers. There was no reason.
Yeah, it's
no.
like.
I mean, you had to get the impact of that scene by zooming in on the fingers. They made sure he got his hand in the right position for that
Don't
too.
show us the position. That's what you don't need to. We get it. Like they zoomed on the fingers. I was like, oh.
Now, I also love how they added the balaclava to Venom Snake in the chopper in Phantom Pain. Whereas in Ground Zeroes, his face was naked and people like extracted the files and got his face. You know, I think they realized, oh crap, we gave this man a predefined face. We shouldn't have done that. We should have had him wear a balaclava. So let's see if you can sneak this in there and say this is canon. You know, the medic. Go. Sorry.
I asked Ronan if he was mad because the medic was white in Ground Zero.
I mean,
God damn it.
He wasn't Asian.
Yeah, I mean, that's also very true. But I'm just saying, I made my character black. Damn it. Okay, I expected to have.
Does it change in the cutscene when you do that?
You see the character you made, like during the part where the vagina bomb goes off and you see him jump in front of Big Boss to protect him. You see the character that you picked, and my character was the black character that I made in the beginning.
Cool. At least they did that. That's good.
Yeah, so they did a good job of trying to replace that scene and say, hey, this was the guy that was part of this whole thing all along, and this was the character that you made in the beginning. So hey, there you go.
Okay.
For me, I was gonna say.
I said as long as they did that, then
it makes up for it. Okay. It makes up for it. For me, when I played this, because I played this live on my stream Sunday.
I missed it. I wanted to see it.
And I got to that ending, and when you get to that final mission, and they start showing you the truth, I was kind of hoping for. Hey, this is the stuff that happened that you probably didn't notice because we kind of, cleverly hid it behind the scenes. I was not expecting them to say, okay, now play through this entire first mission again. I didn't want that.
No deviation.
Yeah, no deviation whatsoever, except the minor things that happen at the beginning of the.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up for that shit. I didn't want that shit. I'm sitting there. I'm like, they're gonna make me play through this whole thing all over again. They're really gonna make me play through this whole thing all over again. Keep in mind the fact that I played that beginning, that first mission, a total of 3 freaking times before this.
Why?
First time, I played the game a little bit off cast. I want to make sure that my recording software was working fine, so I played that first mission. Deleted that save, started it up again on stream, had issues on stream, had to delete that save again and restart it again. Only to have to do it again at the end of the damn game.
I want to agree with you. It's such an epic scene. I love it, but its value is only good to be played once because that on-rail section takes so fucking long to get started. But when you first boot it up, that first initial playthrough is just, you're like, whoa.
What the fuck is happening?
Right. Like, those were like my initial feelings when I first played that scene. I'm like, this is amazing. And it sucked me in like completely. But having to play that 3 times and riding on the perhaps the weirdest version of Brokeback Mountain I've ever seen in my life, I don't need to play that 3 times in a row.
Did you know when you first started playing, did you know that you weren't Big Boss? Like when you first booted up and you saw Ishmael, did it click in your head?
I knew something was off for the fact that Ishmael sounded just like Big Boss. On top of the fact that you sounded like Big Boss. So I knew something was off about that.
Did they ever explain why the voices are the same?
I don't think so.
I think because.
Just because.
No,
that's simple enough.
I think that maybe surgery. Maybe they had some because the medic in Ground Zeroes had like a higher tone of voice, right? So I'm sure they did some surgery to make him sound like Big Boss, because I mean, obviously the voice has to be the same if they want to fool the world, sell the world that this man is that Venom Snake is Big Boss. Although I think it's funny because I think if people were to meet Venom Snake, they'd be like, "You're not. What happened, Snake? You're not cocky anymore. You're a little quiet today."
I didn't think he looked like him either. Like,
why aren't you smoking real cigars anymore, Snake? What the fuck is going on?
You get the one real cigar on the birthday, but they take it away from you. It's fucked up, man.
Oh yeah.
How dare them? Unless you have Quiet there, then she will light you one. But if you don't have her, then you don't get the cigar.
Right, right. Which I didn't at the time that my birthday rolled around, so kind of,
Well,
sad faces all around.
when I got my PS4, which I finally got a PS4 because I guess I'm not an Xbox fanboy anymore.
Ooh, shots fired.
I made my birthday on the same day, and I was really pissed because I was literally about 2 feet from extracting D-Dog, and the mission ended, and they were like, "Come back to Mother Base right now," and I was like, "Oh no, when did they get D-Dog?" And I'm like, "What happened?"
Screw the puppy! It's your birthday, man.
That's my birthday. What the hell?
I love that scene though. It was good where he pulls out his pistol because he hears all the gunfire and stuff. But so what was your final thought then on the ending? Because we've got a couple other topics I want to talk about before we get out of here.
So here's the thing, and I also talked about this during that stream after the ending happened. That ending, the impact of it, wasn't there in the way that people were expecting it to be for me. And the reason why I say that is because on a previous episode of the Codec, for those of you who don't know, who may be new to this show, I actually helped moderate the chat as well. During this time, it was around the time where some douchebags decided, hey, we're going to post spoilers in the chat the whole time while you're reading it. And fucking spoil
your keyboard. That's how mad you were. You just actually typed.
You don't understand how pissed I was about this. So I'm reading the chat to help moderate the fucking chat, and some douchebag decides to say, "Hey, Young, how does it feel to be wrong about your theories?" I'm like,
damn it! Yeah, damn it!
Oh,
so
Jesus.
That ruined a good portion of what the ending was going to be for me. So I saw it coming in the beginning when I was on like mission fucking 12.
On that note, though, on the my theory being wrong, first of all, yeah, I absolutely, completely was wrong. I was like 200% sure Venom Snake was Big Boss. Now, some people are saying, hey, Young, so are you going to apologize to Python Selkin or what?
Why would you?
He was wrong, too. I'm sorry. I don't know what people are talking about. It wasn't fucking Gray Fox. I do not. No, but he was closer in the sense that he did talk about the body double theory.
Yeah,
and in that sense, he was right. And some of the stuff, like the triple strap eye patch versus the double one, turns out that there is some significance to that. And there were some things that he touched
on. The ponytail.
You
talked about that a little bit too, though.
But just about everything else revolved around Gray Fox. Literally everything traced back to Gray Fox, and all of those were absolutely wrong. And there's nothing wrong with that
at all.
Yeah, like, and there's. He was theorizing, I was theorizing, I was wrong, he was wrong, and that's fine, But, some people are asking me to, like, apologize. Like, I have nothing to apologize for. We were both fans who were theorizing, and, it's like saying, oh, my theory is right because I said it wasn't Gray Fox. I did say that. I said it wasn't Gray Fox. Does that make me right? No. Whereas Python Selkin said, it's not Big Boss. Does that make him right? No, we were both partially right in some aspects, partially wrong in other aspects. But at the end, it's funny. It's like, kind of like the way Big Boss and Zero misinterpreted the boss's will. We misinterpreted Kojima's will. Right. And, and the reason it's like Python Selkin is, and I don't say they're Cypher because they're a villain. It's just they're enigmatic, right? Who the fuck are they? Like, I've never seen their face. Whereas, I'm like out there. I'm Big Boss because I'm out there. I'm the icon or whatever. I don't know, whatever. I'm people know who I am. And then these two entities that were fighting and misinterpreting the boss's will. Just two YouTubers.
I love this.
Misinterpreting Kojima's will. But then some dude who's yet to identify himself as solid YouTuber came in and something. I don't know where I'm going with this, but the parallel is kind of weird.
It really. I saw it coming because of that little issue that happened, as some people would say. And for the record, I want to say, and I don't give a shit what people think about what I'm saying here about this, because I'm putting this out there because I'm fucking pissed.
Do it.
If you are that desperate to come into someone's chat, spoil a fucking game to prove somebody wrong, you need to fucking reassess your life. Please. God. Okay, anyway.
Good? You good?
I'm good.
Well, I just want to say that I actually was right out of both of Python, Selkin, and Young. I nailed it. Yeah, I put a video up I was talking to a fan, one of my first Metal Gear videos, and I said, I don't think we're Big Boss, and I know for a fact that we're not Gray Fox. I knew that. And it was because something in Ground Zeroes with the eye
But did you
droid.
actually know who it was? Because
No, I didn't. But I was more right than y'all. But you know what you did nail?
Well,
is you nailed the virus, the outbreak in Mother
I
Base.
did actually. I was surprised. I was really surprised that I actually got most of that right. And I don't mean that like in a braggy way. I was like, wait, I'm actually playing through this, and I'm like, I literally like said this not too long ago. Like but there were certain aspects that I still couldn't like quite deduce. Like I didn't know the exact nature of the parasites, where if you speak a certain language, that's when the parasite like activates and stuff, which explains the headphones in the throat. When in retrospect, I should have been like, yeah, that actually makes sense. I should have been like, I should have theorized that. But so the right elements of it.
So a lot of people thought, for instance, the scene where Big Boss shoots his people. A lot of people assumed that scene was associated with Big Boss being a bad guy, and then now all of a sudden he's killing his men because of that. But really, it was because of what you theorized with the parasite and stuff.
Right,
so
yeah,
definitely wanted to point out that you did nail that aspect of the game. But Ronan, back to you real quickly. What as far as the story goes, were you satisfied with that, regardless of the spoilers or whatever? Were you happy with being in the game?
I feel like I was satisfied for the most part with the way it ended. Like I said during the stream, I understand people's frustration when it comes to the idea of perhaps it not feeling complete for one, on top of the fact that you found out you're not playing as Big Boss the whole time. I totally get that. I will not shoot down anyone's thoughts and opinions on the fact that mission probably you were hoodwinked the whole time, right? So I get that a lot. But just the way that final mission was executed into revealing the truth behind it all, wasn't a big fan of that. On top of the fact that they said, hey, if you want more story, here's all these cassette tapes. Listen to them one by one. So that wasn't too much of a fan of that. On top of the fact that people are talking about this rumored Mission 51, which is making a lot more sense. And it kind of adds into the fact that perhaps this really wasn't finished all the way through the way they had intended to begin with, and perhaps some of that would have added a bit more clarity to what was going on the whole time.
Have you watched the video, the Mission 51 video?
I've been trying to find it. People have been saying that Konami's been taking the videos down.
Okay.
So yeah, I haven't got a chance to see it.
We'll send it to you.
Okay.
If we that's the thing. Why is Konami? This should be made public. Honestly, this should be available to everyone because they bought the game and the story isn't complete. That one story, like the Venom Snake arc is complete. The Quiet arc.
I don't think it is.
The Eli arc isn't.
Exactly.
That's the arc that isn't complete. The Liquid Snake arc.
Right.
He took Sahelanthropus. What the fuck happened to it?
Yeah, what happens next? What?
And Mission 51 literally just completes the whole thing. That one storyline, it brings everything together. And for them to just only make that available to the people who bought the collector's edition is why? Like, make it public.
Yeah.
Give it to everyone. That's my
should
prerogative.
Should be in like an extra button on the main menu.
Like the way I see it is, if you didn't have enough time to actually put it in the game, then at least have it as an option where you can click on a button in the menu and say, hey, or here, watch Mission 51 and see it all the way through. I don't think it was quite. It kind of feels like a kick in the face to those who actually did go out and buy this game day one, regardless of perhaps what's been going on with Konami recently, or the fact that they have to realize for some people this might be their first Metal Gear game. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for them to get kind of shafted out of a story arc that they might have wanted to see completed, it feels kind of wrong.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Especially being 30% done. Like, I know 30% doesn't sound like a lot, but when you look at the completion level of the cutscene, like the rest of the 70% that it needs to be completed only just looks like polish and touch up, making sure that the characters look right or whatever. And that really shouldn't take that long. The main parts of like the hard parts look like they're done. And to not delay the game like maybe one more month to finish that is ridiculous. I guarantee you, with as many people working at Konami, they could have, took some people that were working on the microtransaction side of things and had them do this
Yeah.
You know, I know that's not how it works in game design. I completely understand that as I make games, but that's my point. Is you could have just used some extra manpower somewhere else and completed this 30% done cutscene. But something I wanted to ask you guys is Jean kind of said, you know, the Venom Snake story arc was complete. I didn't feel like it was complete because even though you get the ending, it never kind of says, okay, this is the end of the story. Now, you know, here's the rest of the time in between where you're doing this free roam stuff. This takes place between here and here. You know what I mean? So like what I'm saying is like when the story's over, there's not a line that says, okay, this is the end of the story. All right, and then anything you do from now on is after the story is over.
Right.
There's no like connection to that. And so basically when you do that last mission, everybody just kind of stops talking to you. Miller doesn't talk to you about anything going on unless you call him over the radio, and it's just a generic, you know, line, and there's not that many. And
so you're saying there's like no finality to that?
yeah, like when you play that last mission, Miller or Ocelot don't talk to you about it. They don't say anything to you. There's that ending recording of them talking to themselves, but there's nothing to like signify that the game is as a story is over. Like you see that.
What I meant was, I guess, I meant in technical terms, the Venom Snake arc is like they explained everything that happened with Venom Snake. There's no, I mean, save for, I guess, I mean they sort of skip over. And like they kind of
like where's Outer
immediately
Heaven? Transition
to Outer Heaven, and but
right.
I mean,
that's my point. Is like, how does that start? What starts Outer Heaven?
Well, Venom Snake.
Right. I know who starts it, but why does he start it? There's no explanation of why
to draw attention away from the real big boss or something.
But that's what we have Diamond Dogs for. That's what I'm saying. Like there's no bridge between Diamond Dogs and Outer Heaven, and then what happens in that.
So there's no bridge. I know what you mean. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I think the arc is complete. It's just there is like a missing piece of like what led to the construction of this facility 200 kilometers north of South Africa, at the southern tip of South Africa, because Outer Heaven is not, you know, in the Seychelles, right? No, I see what you mean. In that sense, they didn't bridge it as much as they could have.
I would have liked a tape. I'm not asking for like much, but to me, when the story's done, I'm confused because now that the story's over, nothing's happening. And I understand it's an open world game, and there has to be like, you know, that end game, like where you can just kind of farm resources and build your FOBs. But I need something to let me know that I'm done with the story. And then now that the story's over, now I'm Venom Snake building up Diamond Dogs. And I never got that feeling like, okay, everything that we needed to do that's major is done. Now please finish building Diamond Dogs. And that's what I was getting at as far as like the story arc doesn't feel done, because I never got... I don't mean like something that just says you're done, you beat the game. I mean like, I know. I never like after you do the quiet cutscene or whatever. Like I said, Miller and Ocelot, who really are the stars. I never felt like the star of the show, like the game. Like I felt like it was really more about Miller and Ocelot with Big Boss as a like co-star. And a lot of the cutscenes. Correct me if you guys don't feel the same way, but a lot of the cutscenes, I felt like Big Boss was just kind of standing back, watching it happen, and then if for some reason, like when they were about to execute Huey, then he was like, "All right, hold on, I got to do this." But overall, like things would happen, and I'm like, "Big Boss, get in there, do something." You know, break these guys up, or, you know, pull your gun out. Does he shoot anybody in the whole game, like in a cutscene or like any kind of actiony type thing?
Skullface, he fucking demolishes Skullface. So yes, he does.
Right. For me,
for
me that was Miller, because I chose when you're standing over Skullface, you can not shoot him, and Miller will grab the gun and do it for you.
Well, Big Boss shoots Skullface.
He still shoots him anyway.
It's definitely Big Boss
he still
shoots him.
I'm telling you, in my cutscene, Miller grabs my gun like on my hand, and
I think he stabilizes your hand, but I think the one who pulls the trigger is Big Boss. And
Did you guys pull the trigger yourself?
I did it both ways.
No, I did it where I didn't pull the trigger, and I do believe Big Boss still
Okay,
Fucking pulls off his limbs.
I got the impression that Miller was in my thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I could
And
be
here's
wrong.
the thing: how many people Venom Snake shoots depends on you. You're the player. Did you shoot the hell out of everyone, every base you infiltrated?
I mean, like for instance, in Metal Gear Solid, we'll just say 2. There's some scenes, and I don't necessarily mean shooting people, but like there's some action sequences in the game, and I don't feel like Big Boss had any kind of action sequences in the cutscene.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Right?
There's that one where he breaks up a fight in Mother Base, and he was pretty badass there. And
Yep,
he actually breaks
cool.
up, like, he battles Quiet a bit. He does, like, some CQC stuff with her, like, removes her knife. I mean,
Yep, I thought that was cool.
kicks Eli's ass, like, multiple times.
And I did hear that you can get the scene from the trailer with Eli. The scene with the chair or whatever. You can get that if you CQC him and don't go outside. You have to do it all inside. You can't leave.
Wait, what? I think all the scenes from the trailers were in.
I didn't when I got Eli. I CQC'd him without him seeing me, and I didn't get a cutscene whatsoever.
Oh, I got the cutscene.
Right.
I got it too.
Okay, some people didn't get it and were complaining about it, but that's the thing is you have to fight Eli inside. I got him when he's on the boat. He at one point he goes and stands outside, and I just walked up behind him and flipped him and knocked him out.
That's never happened to me.
Yeah,
He was always on the chair, and
It's
if
an
you were in
objective.
alert mode, then the cutscene wouldn't play, and he would just you would hear the zhung, the exclamation noise, and then the battle would begin. But if you sneaked in completely quietly, like nobody, no alert phased, whatever, and you walked up and faced him directly while he was sitting on the chair in his,
Right.
Yeah, the cutscene would play.
The cutscene would just play. So whether that cutscene plays depends on the alert status and where you come in from and stuff like that. But it does
Right.
play.
Right. Well, like I said, I never got it, and it's an optional objective. Like if you go back and replay the mission, you can see it says take down White Mamba without him resisting, and so that's the one I got. But I went back and replayed it, and I got a different cutscene without the chair because I CQC'd him outside, and
right.
so I was like, "Where is that?" I think I even messaged you on Skype about it, and I was like, "Where's that cutscene?" And
it's there.
yeah, apparently you just have to do it inside. But I want to talk a little bit while we're on cutscenes. We're getting close to the end here. It's almost 5. I wanted to get you guys. A lot of people don't like the Quiet and Big Boss water scene, and I love it. I thought it was the best thing. I thought it was one of the best scenes in the whole entire game. Like literally, if not the best.
Damn
like,
right you did. I know. Yeah, absolutely.
we know why you liked it. Yeah, we know.
Look, it started out weird, and I was like, why am I watching this? Why is this? And then when they started kind of like play fighting a little bit, I smiled, and like literally I was like, Big Boss man, he likes somebody finally.
You get it, Big Boss.
Big Boss finally likes somebody. Big Boss.
I was like, this. I love that scene, and I've seen so much hate for it. Like a lot of people are like, he would never do that. I would never do that. Why did they put this scene in here? So I'm curious to see if you guys liked it. So, Young, we'll start with you this time. Did you like that scene in particular?
It was weird as hell, but I liked to see I like that I got to see this side of Quiet. I think it's funny. I'm thinking back to the Stephanie Houston interview, and I asked her, "Are there any moments where Quiet, may act, a little cute? Maybe she's not always the killer." And she's like, "Yeah, there may be sometimes where she'll act a little cute." And I think she was thinking about this one scene.
That scene, yeah.
And I think it's weird and it's childish, but it is kind of cute. And some people say it's over-sexualized, but I think it shows a new side to Quiet where,
thought it was fun.
She's human, she's not this monster that a lot of people think her of. She just, she happened to have come across unfortunate circumstances. And now, she's kind of like in love with the legend, and she's just sort of showing off her playful nature. And, it's weird. Again, I think that's it. That scene is weird as fuck. But, it's with the Eva scene in the cave, that I kind of got. It's like, yeah, Eva's like seducing Snake, and it's part of her mission because, she's trying to steal the Philosopher's Legacy, which you find out at the end. That kind of sort of made sense. This one just kind of is thrown at you out of nowhere. But I I don't think it's controversial. I don't think it's just weird. But
Yeah, I don't think people thought it was, people like you said, thought it was out of place and they didn't like it. The reason I liked it was because of that exact reason you said, because it was playful and fun, and you nailed it when you said like Quiet is this badass killer, and so is Snake, and to see them share like a moment that kind of makes them human, like I go outside and splash water on my girlfriend sometimes just because it's fun. Like that's what normal people do. I mean, well, maybe not normal people, but some
Quiet's totally normal. Yeah.
Some people go outside and splash water on each other, and I thought it was funny. And go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, listen to the cassette tapes in Peace Walker. I mean, they're Paz and her adventures, right? She talks about all the things she saw in Mother Base. They were playing soccer. They went fishing.
Yeah.
They had this little cat in there, and it was a cute little cat. They named it Nuke or something. And I mean, like little things like that. Like they were so playful. There are. It shows that Mother Base, it's not just the place of yes, sir. I will kill, sir.
Violence.
Yeah, exactly. They have their moments of playfulness and peace and quiet and of camaraderie and. That scene, again, it's really weird, but I think it shows that side of Mother Base, and in that sense, I really liked it. And, boobs.
All right.
Yep.
I don't know.
I felt like I think at the beginning it was kind of central on the boobs, but as it progressed and they started actually playing, it kind of panned out. And then I thought it was really cool where she got embarrassed and went cloak mode, and Boss was just like, your shoes.
Yeah, no, it's
don't forget these.
What about you, Ronan? Did you like the scene? I know you're kind of hard on this kind of stuff. So what do you think, man?
I mean, because I really wanted that scene to play when I was actually streaming it, but I was actually doing I think I was doing side ops off stream, and then that scene played, and I'm like, shit, nobody else can see this but me. But anyways, in all honesty, I agree with the idea of it being a bit weird and hearing Big Boss giggle gleefully.
Goddamn Kiefer.
I know, he has a weird giggle.
As they were kicking water at each other was pretty great. But no, I agree with the idea that it shows that outside of the battle-hardened side of these characters, they do have a soft side and feelings hidden deep down. And I think it kind of adds a bit of humanity to Quiet as well, because at the end of the day, the reason why she is quiet to begin with is because she didn't want, for the whole parasite infection thing to spread on Mother Base as well. Mm-hmm. And she was trying to, she was there for the purpose at first of getting revenge on Big Boss. That was the kind of inner conflict that she was having. But as time went on, the feelings started to develop, and she tells us why she wasn't speaking as you play that final mission with her. Yeah, so I feel like it shows that she has that softer side to her, and that she does have feelings where she does care about people and she wants to have fun. And a scene like that, I think that added a bit more to the personality for these characters, which is why I appreciate it.
I like Quiet. I don't know. I
do too.
That character.
So, before we move on to one of the last topic, I just want to point out something that I think is a plot hole, though, with this whole situation. Quiet is obviously the lady who attacks you in the beginning at the hospital.
Yes.
She's coming in there looking for Big Boss.
Yes.
And when she gets there, she kills the nurse and the doctor, and then she gets on the radio and says, "A patient saw my face." So she doesn't recognize you as Big Boss. Then, in addition to that, you are not the one who throws the stuff at her, the flammable liquid, and you are also not the one who throws the knife at her. It's the real Big Boss, who's covered in bandages, but she still has this vendetta against Big Boss or you or whatever, and she knows you're not. She has to know you're not Big Boss. She has to.
Well, you have his face, so
yeah. At that point in the game,
right? But that's my point. Is she doesn't say that I found the target. She says a patient has seen my face. So my question is this on purpose? Does she know? Does she not know? Does she know and not say anything because she doesn't care who you are? But she clearly says a patient saw my face, not I found the target or the target's seen me or I found Big Boss. And then, as I said, in addition to that, if she has a vendetta with anybody, it should be the person who burned her, which she doesn't know who that is.
Well, in terms of the vendetta stuff, first of all, it was part of her mission to infiltrate
Right.
Mother Base, and Skullface believes that Venom Snake is Big Boss. Skullface actually sent Quiet with the vocal cord parasite in her to do this. So it wasn't just vendetta; it was also like the mission.
Well, I
It
mean,
was her mission, and
before,
in Skullface's perspective.
I mean, in the hospital scene.
Venom Snake was Big Boss, so she was sent to Mother Base for that purpose. In terms of the exact wording where you said, the patient, a patient saw my face, I can't say. Maybe she doesn't really know what Big Boss looks like. I think maybe they got wind of the fact that they're doing plastic surgery or something, so they are assuming that. I think that's why they're killing every patient. I mean,
Right.
you're wondering. I mean, that's something that I wonder. Why are they killing literally every single one? Why
patient.
not just look for Big Boss and shoot him in the face? I think they know that they're trying to trick him. And that's why they go in and kill everyone to make sure that they actually kill Big Boss, because
Right.
this person may have Big Boss's face, but that might be a ruse. Kill. That
Gotcha.
guy who doesn't have Big Boss's face, that guy might be Big Boss. Kill. So I think that's why she sets a patient, because maybe the order
That makes
was
sense.
kill everyone.
Yeah.
Don't let a single human being leave this place. Kill fucking everyone. And I think that's why that plays out the way it does.
All right,
But
that makes
my
a little more sense. What about you, Ron? You on board with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that if you're going to do a job like that, you're gonna have to do it.
You just might as well kill everybody.
You're gonna have to be thorough. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to be thorough on that. That's unfortunate to say, because those poor, like, you watch the scenes where those
You're
people
a
get
savage, man. You're a savage.
killed. I'm like, if I'm in the position of Cypher and I'm giving orders like that, I can't. Hey, no man left behind. Hey, look. No. But in all seriousness, I think that might have been part of what the plan was, truth be told. I think the idea was to go in there, no witnesses, essentially, for what's happening. So they took out everybody they possibly could, even if that meant, on their way to Big Boss, take him out, take out the whole hospital at the same time. So yeah, I do agree that was probably part of the plan to begin with, outside of the fact that we're saying, the patient in the bed saw my face. Like, she was there to kill both of those patients there, regardless. She wasn't going to just kill the target. I can tell you that much. So yeah, I do believe that was part of the plan from the beginning, was to kill everybody in that hospital.
All right,
yeah,
sorry,
that's the only thing I can come up with.
Yeah.
I follow you guys. I was just checking the chat. I got one more minor question or minor topic, and then we'll go on to the last one. And this one's more directed towards you, Ronan, because Yong and I already talked about it.
Sure.
Does this story kill your perception of the real Big Boss?
Not really, in a sense, because I think what they were trying to do, and like, you listen to the cassette tape that he listens to at the end, the man who sold the world.
Right.
Big Boss essentially said that when you are doing this, you are Big Boss. To everyone else, you are Big Boss. So I feel like it hasn't really killed my perception of him, because outside of perhaps maybe minor personality differences, so to speak, I still felt like I was playing Big Boss, at least until the point where I got fucking spoiled about the ending. But let's not go back into that. I felt like I was playing Big Boss regardless, and that.
Well, I mean, not the title, but John, like the character from Peace Walker in 3, who we assume to do all of this stuff, and we assume to be this badass person, which begs the question: is he the one who saved Sniper Wolf, or was it Venom Snake? Because he was out, doing his own thing during this particular time. I don't know the specific timelines on that particular. It could definitely be him, but it just raises that question: like, what did he actually do prior to this, and what was Venom Snake? So for me, what I said was, to me, it looked like a man who we saw go through Snake Eater and become the boss by defeating the boss, going into Peace Walker, destroying the Chrysalis, the whatever the pupa and the other one was. He destroys these Metal Gears. He develops this base, and then it gets destroyed, and then he gives up.
Right.
That's what I got from it. Obviously, I know he doesn't give up for good, but to me, he went into hiding to do something, and that's not the Big Boss personality that I got from, and when I say Big Boss, I'm specifically speaking of him. That's not the personality that I got, that just because something like this happened, that he would kind of give up and go into hiding. So that's
I feel like a part of him, when looking at the ending of Peace Walker, when the fucking Metal Gear walks off into the water and stuff like that. It kind of he kind of looks at that as a symbol to say, the boss actually betrayed me. And he is no longer necessarily out to continue on her will anymore. So I feel like a part of him had changed in a negative light, because the person, the light of his life, the person that he was always with, the person that trained him since he was younger up to the point that he is now, has essentially turned her back on him, so to speak, in his eyes at least. So
does that make him like give up his will to fight in your?
I think it makes him give up his will to perhaps I want to say, not necessarily give up his will to be a force of to enforce peace in some aspect, which was kind of like what they were trying to do with what was it called?
MSF.
MSF, yeah. I feel like after that, something had changed in him, and he kind of wanted, I wouldn't say revenge, but he no longer cared about the fact of what was going on in the world anymore. He didn't want to be that force anymore, which could have been why he went over to start Outer Heaven to begin with, in South Africa. So I do think that there are events throughout the series from 3 up until now that leads up to him changing his outlook on what the boss originally wanted and what he wants.
Okay. But the story of 5 doesn't negate his I guess persona to you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Dong, did you have any other thoughts on this? Me and you already talked about it, but is there anything you'd like to add before we go into the last topic?
I mean, I don't know. Big Boss, I don't know if he goes into hiding, but he goes to build Zanzibar land. So in a sense, he is still sort of
long though. Like it, I know what everybody like. I get that, and I don't want to take that away. Like I totally agree. Like he is going to do something, but what I'm saying is that's not the Big Boss that I know. Like the Big Boss I know doesn't do the secrety, shady type of stuff. He's not Cypher, and that's what I mean. So like,
maybe it's gotten to a point where he needs to combat fire with fire. And
they talked about that.
Cypher's getting out of control, and Cypher needs to, if you want to combat Cypher, they need to be sneakier. They need to be more intelligent. They can't just be out there in public and, getting known by the world as, their own, just mercenaries and crazy people or whatever. They need a use Cypher methods.
Yeah.
Fight Cypher from the inside, basically, rather
something
than
like that. Yeah,
okay. I can dig that, but to me, it was such a disappointment because when I think of Big Boss, I think of this in your face, not necessarily like action hero, but like this guy who's like blatantly doesn't care if you know what he's doing because he's going to do it anyways. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when he goes in Peace Walker is another example. When he goes in there to Costa Rica or whatever, yes, he's undercover and he's trying to stay hidden. I'm a photographer type thing. But when it comes to battle, like he doesn't try and ditch out or keep the cover. He's like, all right, RPG. Like that's the Big Boss that I kind of get. And he's got this big army behind him. That's the acting force while he's the the kind of sneakier guy. But it's always orientated towards action rather than pacifism, more or less.
Well, so you have to kind of look at the fact that in Ground Zeroes, that mother base was fucking destroyed. Half of their military force was gone, so to speak, and they had to slowly build them back up over the so to speak 9-year coma.
Right.
Honestly, I feel like in that case, if Big Boss were to be the the gung ho in your face RPG, no matter what happens, I don't think he'd be able to stand up on his own against a force like Cypher, considering that he just lost his forces in that previous encounter. So I feel like he was kind of forced to go into hiding and slowly build back up again because he wouldn't be able to stand against that on his own.
I think he wants to avoid a second coming of a second MSF situation, which is why he goes for this ploy.
Then the last thing is, why dump it on you? Like that doesn't. It doesn't seem like Big Boss would ever be the one to let somebody else fight his battles. He doesn't accept help in the field. He doesn't take anybody with him on any of his missions. And even in like Snake Eater, when Eva would try and help him, he was always like, "No, I don't need your help."
Well,
other than the cave situation, but then to say, let this guy be me.
I mean, like the way you're phrasing it, I was making it sound like he was happily willing to do this, and I don't think that he was like, hey, you're gonna be my decoy for a while. Just whatever. I'm gonna go do my own thing.
That's what I got from it.
I don't think that's what his intentions were as a whole. I felt like there was, I mean, if you listen to the cassette tapes, there was a lot more for the reasoning behind why it had to be you.
Okay, makes sense. All right, last topic. Let's get it out of the way so we can all. I don't know. Some people are going to stay up and some people are going to go to bed. But whatever you're going to do. The last topic is the closing. Young and I talked about this as well. We were talking about when the game ends and you get the timeline of everything going down and everything going on. We had some impressions and some opinions on maybe what we thought was going on. My theory was that during the original Metal Gear, when Solid Snake is sent into Outer Heaven to destroy that's clearly Venom Snake. And my theory was in Metal Gear Solid 5 at the end where he punches the window or the mirror after he hears the tape, that it's Big Boss telling him that he's no longer able to be Big Boss because it's time for him to be Big Boss again, and this upsets him, and said now he's going to be a bad guy because now he thinks he is Big Boss and he wants to continue to be Big Boss, and that's why the real Big Boss sent Solid Snake in there to kill him. That was the theory that I had, and that's what to me the timeline suggests. So I'm curious to hear what you think about the ending and then the bridge, kind of the gap between where the game ends and what we know of the original Metal Gear.
Well, first of all, some facts. I believe that it was actually like Cypher wanted Outer Heaven taken out, and I think Big Boss, to prevent that from happening, he sent two rookie agents like Gray Fox and Solid Snake, because I think Cypher relied on the U.S. government to take care of this Outer Heaven outlet. And so they, I think Big Boss, to prevent that from happening, purposely had the U.S. send two rookie soldiers so that they would fail in their mission because Outer Heaven was his thing. But nobody knew that at the time. So I don't know if your theory, you say that Big Boss sent Solid Snake to kill Venom Snake. I think he wanted Big Solid Snake to fail. That's why he sent Solid Snake. He wanted him to fail. That's what was said. What has been said in the games. He sent Solid Snake thinking, he's some rookie guy. No way he's gonna make it that far. And he fucking owned that shit. And he wasn't expecting that, and his plans were foiled. That's, I think, the canon. Cypher wanted Outer Heaven taken out. Big Boss tried to prevent that by sending weak soldiers in there like Gray Fox and Solid Snake. That didn't work out. Outer Heaven was taken down. And then Zanzibar happened. I believe that's...
Well, that's what's confusing to me, is because if that's the case and let's pretend they did fail or something happened and he creates Zanzibar land, then there's clearly two Big Bosses. And the thing that the reason why I said that that's my theory is because at the end of 5, which is what Kojima said was going to kind of mend the canon or change some things about some maybe the older games, was Ocelot clearly says there can only be one Big Boss and there can only be one Snake, and I'm going to support the real Big Boss. And then Miller comes back and says, well, I'm going to support the Phantom and his sons. And so that's why I was thinking that it has to be, because it's very clear, at least to me, that at the end when he punches the mirror, that's the point at which he's no longer on good terms with Big Boss, at least in my opinion. He could be. I could be completely wrong, but that's just the impression that I got. He gives the smirk when he says something about them both being Big Boss, like, yeah, right, like I'm Big Boss. That's the feeling that I got from it. And to me that would explain why Venom Snake is the quote unquote villain, is because now that he's been Big Boss and now that he has this army, he wants to do whatever he thinks. Maybe he still likes the original boss's will, and that's what he wants to do now that he thinks he's, Big Boss. That's just my opinion. I understand what you're saying about as far as like, the canon goes of the original Metal Gear, but I'd love to hear some more. Ronan, do you have any thoughts on this particular subject?
I don't know, because
it's a little confusing.
Like that scene, confusing in some sense, and yet you can see a lot of symbolic nature behind what they were trying to convey during that scene. I don't see. For me, I don't know if it was a case of him wanting to I want to say encompass the personification of Big Boss.
Because he clearly doesn't want to kill himself, right?
No, well, of course not. I would hope not, at least.
So he's got to be the Big Boss, and if Big Boss says there can only be one Big Boss, we have to assume that at some point he has to be taken out, or
which he does,
filed into the ranks.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it may have been a case of him saying like, okay, well, I'm going to, once he found out the truth, okay, I'm going to continue to encompass this personification of Big Boss up until whenever the shit goes down, and I guess it did. So I don't know. That's kind of a tough one for me, because I could see your point of him wanting to say like, no, screw you, I'm Big Boss. I've done all this work. You didn't do all this. You were hiding the whole time. But
that's what I got from it. That's what I got.
Well,
so,
I don't know.
The thing is, it is still one Big Boss, because it's not two Big Bosses claiming I'm the Big Boss, and that it's two people personifying one Big Boss. You know what I'm saying? It people are meant to believe that Venom Snake is the real Big Boss. It's one Big Boss being personified by two individuals for the decoy purposes. So it's different from two people competing for the title of Big Boss. I don't think that's happening. They're both. Well, that's the message of the game. In fact, you and I are both Big Boss.
Yeah, I agree at the beginning, but
the punching the mirror, I don't know. I need to look into that.
What I'm saying is the recording of Ocelot and Kaz that's what brought it up, and the punching the mirror was kind of the exclamation mark on that. But it's clearly stated like Ocelot is going with the real Big Boss. You can hear it in the tapes as well. He psychologically makes himself believe that Venom Snake is the real Big Boss until a certain point. And he says that to Kaz knowingly. He's like, I'm going to support the real Big Boss when the time comes. He says that. When the time comes, I'll support the real Big Boss. And that was my Troy Baker accent, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic. Spot on.
Kaz says, no, screw Big Boss. I'll make his Phantom the legend or something like that and support his sons, because he knows that Big Boss doesn't like Liquid Snake and Solid Snake. And then Ocelot says, when the time comes, if you go back to Cypher, we'll be enemies too, and one of us will have to kill each other, because there can only be one Big Boss and one Snake. So to me, it just seems like they know at some point when Big Boss, the real Big Boss, is ready to execute his plan, this Phantom has to go away. And that's what I thought the ending scene was when he plays that tape, the Operation N313, something on that tape tells him, okay, your time is over. It's time for me to execute my plan. And he kind of gets this attitude where, like, no, I've got my nukes now. Maybe that's part of the, in the game where you get to build nukes and build your forces. And now you have, this outer heaven. And maybe that's why he creates outer heaven, is because, okay, I want to disassociate myself from Diamond Dogs, because that was Big Boss's thing. That's Big Boss's, identity. I'm going to create my own outer heaven, because to me there would be no reason for him to create outer heaven unless he wanted to separate himself from that control.
Here's the thing. What happened to Diamond Dogs? That's something they never explain.
They never explain that.
That's what I'm getting at. That's my theory, is maybe Venom Snake gets rid of Diamond Dogs on purpose because he doesn't agree with how Big Boss wants to do his plan. Maybe after he figures everything else out, he's like, I've got this force, I've got this, all this stuff going for me. I don't need the real Big Boss anymore. I'm Big Boss. I've trained myself to be Big Boss, and I'm going to create my own outer heaven away from Big Boss. And that was my thing is Big Boss, the real Big Boss, gets upset with that and sends, Solid Snake in there to, maybe fail to, like you said, maybe fail to a point where he won't necessarily get to destroy the whole thing, and maybe he can pick up the pieces. But clearly, to me, he was aiding Solid Snake in killing the Phantom Big Boss, because somebody mentioned like codec frequency changes in the game, and maybe that's the point where you talking from Venom Big Boss to the real Big Boss. I don't know. There's some details that are kind of lost in it, but to me, that's the only thing that can make the most sense. Because if they're on the same page, then the conversation that Ocelot and Kaz has absolutely no meaning.
But Zanzibar Land doesn't emerge until years after the Outer Heaven Uprising. Why would he send Solid Snake in so soon when his plan isn't really, I guess, ready? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is I'm thinking when Outer Heaven is made, that's what starts to trigger the real Big Boss to be concerned, because he's no longer following the predetermined path that he set for his plan to, stay in motion. And maybe that's why Zanzibar Land wasn't ready. Maybe he had to up the deployment of that plan because of this whole situation with Venom Snake. I don't know. We could theorize about this forever.
I don't know. I don't think there is how do you say that?
Animosity?
Animosity. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's
late. It's late, man.
It's early. It's early.
It's early. Yeah.
Late early. Yeah.
I don't believe there's animosity between them. I do wonder about that punch in the mirror, though.
In your opinion, then, what do you think about the conversation with Kaz and Ocelot, and then what do you think would happen when Big Boss is ready? Do you think just two big bosses emerge on the scene, or what do you think?
I think what he's saying is, I think what he's saying is that there will come a time when only one big boss will remain, and that's going to be, Venom is, regardless of his role, he's still a fake. There's going to be, and like you said, to some degree, I think you're right, where there will be a time when Big Boss will emerge, the real Big Boss, and that, and there's just room for one Big Boss. But I don't know if they would go as far as, I'm going to kill the second in command guy who sacrificed all his life to dedicate to being a decoy. And
I guess if you think about the demon aspect, if you think about the Venom boss becoming a demon, something that the original Big Boss wouldn't like. That's where I'm coming from it. Maybe, like I said, I definitely love to hear your side of it, and I respect it. If you don't agree with me, that's perfectly fine, and I'd love to hear maybe what you have to think too. After
I was gonna ask real quick, because just to get a little bit of clarification, because I know there's a part of this that I didn't actually see during the ending.
What didn't you see?
Some of the timeline stuff they showed before the credits. I was when you're streaming a game, sometimes you happen to miss things. So there was a part of that I missed when they talked about the Big Boss's Phantom dying. Did they specify how or who?
They said it's 95, right?
Yeah. I got the year.
95. It says Outer Heaven Uprising, Phantom Big Boss dies.
Okay, so there was no specification about how or who or
no. It says Solid Snake kills Venom Snake.
Okay, there you go. Solid Snake kills Venom,
or the
Snake.
Phantom, or something.
Yeah, something like that. In 95 at Outer Heaven, and that's
Metal Gear 1. The big boss you were communicating with was Venom Snake. And the one you killed was Venom Snake. And the funny thing is, the Metal Gear 1 big boss, he barely says shit.
Yeah.
Whereas the Metal Gear 2 big boss, at the end, he gives a whole freaking speech.
Yeah.
And so it's I don't know, that's kind of clever what Kojima did.
Exactly. So the big topic to debate is why and what causes that. And that, like I said, that was just my opinion. I know, Yang, you said you were going to do some more research before you come out with your full, fleshed out opinions on it and your theory on it. But to me, that's what I think happened is some kind of event triggers Phantom Big Boss to not want to roll in the same category as real Big Boss wants him to. He wants to do his own thing now. He has all this power. He's got these nukes. He's got these people, all the Diamond Dog soldiers and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, okay, it's time for me to do my thing, and so I'm going to create Outer Heaven. That's what I thought, and that's what that kind of got symbolized through the mirror punch. Is he's all fine and dandy, and then all of a sudden Diamond Dogs is no more. He destroys it by punching the mirror, and now it's Outer Heaven. That's what I got from it. But I would love, after you have some more time to kind of think about it and theorize on it, Young, I'd love to kind of.
Oh, actually, I'm looking at the wiki here, and which is a fantastic place to go if you ever get lost in the lore. And here's what it says: it says that Big Boss didn't go to construct Zanzibar; it was actually to construct Outer Heaven, and then he left Venom in charge after he finished construction. That's what it says here. This probably. I don't know what the sources are. I'm sure
is that tapes. Is that pre like Metal Gear Solid 5 or post?
No, this is. I'm looking at the Venom Snake page.
Okay.
It says Big Boss, after he went into hiding, created Outer Heaven, left Venom Snake in charge, and then rejoined Foxhound.
Gotcha.
And then he sent Solid Snake to fail in. So you see, that sounds to me like they were working together. He left Venom Snake in charge of Outer Heaven after the fact. And then
they
he
still
sent
had that
Solid
relationship
Snake
to do that.
Yeah, and then he sent Big Boss, the real Big Boss, sent Solid Snake to fail that mission.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Metal Gear 1, it was revealed, that Big Boss was in reality the one running Outer Heaven. But that Big Boss wasn't really Big Boss. It was Venom Snake. And then I think the real Big Boss, after that failed, created Zanzibar. And then he started his own revolution. Gotcha. This is the wiki again. I don't know, anybody can edit it, whatever. But the wiki has been consistently accurate throughout.
It doesn't not make sense. I'm not ever saying that's not true. It just, to me, like when that conversation happens, something to me just kind of clicked, and I'm like, we're not seeing everything at face value, because Ocelot, like he says, I'm going to support the real Big Boss. To me, that means something is going to happen at some point where things are going to be divided. I don't know, maybe if it never got to that point, or if things kind of just fell apart before that with the uprising or whatever. The whole thing is like, what is the uprising? Like, what does that mean? Obviously, you have Diamond Dogs. Right, well, so
I think what they're hinting at with what you said about this Ocelot and Ocelot supporting the real Big Boss. While if you go to Metal Gear 2, if you play that game, Miller says something like, "This Big Boss guy, he's a monster. Solid, you have to kill him." I don't know if that was. I don't know if Phantom Pain is saying that came out of hatred for Kaz being played like a damn fiddle. Because there is an animosity there where Kaz wants Big Boss dead in Metal Gear 2. Ocelot, on the other hand, he doesn't want that. He wants Big Boss, the legend, to live and to do his thing. So I think that's what it was hinting at, where Kaz is like, I'm done with this shit, with this Big Boss bullshit. I'm done with Big Boss. He
wants to support the Phantom, though. That's the thing. Like, you hear that?
Yeah, he wants. Yeah, he wants.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's confusing because when they have this conversation, it's Ocelot is really the one that's stating it, but he's clearly saying at some point there's going to be a divide, and when that divide happens, I will support the real Big Boss.
I don't know if they mention a divide. I think it's just I'm gonna support Venom Big Boss. I'm done with Big Boss. That's what's.
If what you're saying is true, wouldn't it be the same? Wouldn't they be supporting the same person then? Wouldn't, or at least Ocelot be supporting both? If that's the
but Venom Snake is under the command of Big Boss. By supporting Big Boss, you're supporting Venom Snake. Whereas Kaz is like, I'm just gonna support Venom Snake. I'm done with Big Boss because Big Boss, he played me like a damn fiddle.
Right.
That's the feeling I get from it, because I don't think Big Boss and Venom Snake have animosity. But again, I don't know. I could be wrong. I have to look at the cutscene again, because he does punch the mirror, and that's like, why you punch a mirror? That looks like a nice mirror while you punch it. So there might be something that Big Boss said there, and there might be an explanation.
I swear to God, it's the tape. I swear I'm not crazy. There's a tape that plays at the end, Operation N313, and I know that's the Metal Gear tape, but I swear there's a program that somebody used that takes audio and changes it into video. It's like a format, and they had it in Ground Zeroes, and somebody deciphered it. I couldn't find it on the internet. I found some topics talking about it, but I couldn't find the actual picture. But unless I just had this crazy, really imaginative dream where I just dreamt this up. But there was something in Ground Zeroes where you could play the tape in a program on the computer, and it would create a little static image of something, and it was really staticky and unclear. And I swear that has something to do with the end when they put it in.
Oh, you said in Ground Zeroes?
Well, in Ground Zeroes is the first time you see this type of tape, all right? And it's just the static. It's 5 seconds of static, and it's or whatever, and you put it in this audio to video thing, and it changes the audio into video. Now, at the end of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, there's a clip where he puts the tape in this thing called a data recorder, and it's clearly not for audio, it's for data. So I'm assuming whatever that sound bite is can go into whatever program does this, and we can see an image. I don't know what that image will be of,
I don't know.
but
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a source. Young, you know who you should know who I'm talking to. We just talked about him in the chapter 3 thing. I'm gonna ask him for a hint. I'm gonna ask him if I put this audio file somewhere, will I see something? And if he says he can't talk about it or something like that, then we'll know that he can't. That's the point. We got to find out what that is. I Google researched the actual, like I paused the cutscene and Google researched the type of player he was using, and I couldn't find anything, but I didn't really search too hard. I only searched for about 20 minutes on it. But
speaking of chapter 3, like
I'll read the quote for everybody. As I said, I can't talk about who it is. He asked to remain anonymous, but I asked a particular person about chapter 3, and the quote that I got, let me pull it up here. Let me make sure people can't see it.
Thing is, I don't know if chapter 3, like, yeah, there's a little title card that says chapter 3 Peace.
Yes.
Now, like, how much more could you expand on the story? Like, what could you do that would, I feel like this,
maybe this
except
is the
for
thing
Mission
that
51,
hasn't been done in gaming. Like, we still have yet to see that.
But there's no, like, I don't know. I feel like that might have been a placeholder or something, because there was just, and then people found like files of the boss's scar and the texture, but that turned out to be costumes, which were announced recently. There's, I don't, like, other than this title card, I don't know if there was, like, if this was an early stage thing where they were originally going to divide the game into 3 chapters, or, like, I don't think
that makes the most sense. Like, what game has 2 chapters?
Phantom Pain?
What other game has 2 chapters? No other game that I literally have ever played in my life has just had 2 chapters. It's always been 3 or 8.
And I've had games that have had 2 acts. I don't know about chapters, though.
Well, 2 acts, yeah. I mean, plays have 2 acts,
Right, but I'm saying this is like a TV show type of thing. I've never seen anything just have 2
So
chapters.
what, 3 makes it, 3 makes sense? I mean,
yes, it does. Well, look, here's the quote. I said, "Excuse me, do you have any information on let's see, what did I say? I said, so what's the verdict on chapter 3? Is it in the game or are we stretching? This will be off the record, of course. No names will be mentioned." He says,
if it's off the record, can you say this?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah,
maybe you should.
No, his name's off the record. Nobody knows.
So you're still allowed to say what you talked about, just not mention any names. Okay,
yes,
sure.
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say it because he didn't give that much. Even if it was, initiated, he didn't say very much. This is the quote. He says, "What I will say is that the game is deeper than what people are giving it credit for. Jumping to premature conclusions based on assets hacked out of the game is unfair and sells the game short. Just keep playing." And then he sent a winky emoticon. So take away from that what you will. Clearly, he says the game is deeper than what people are giving it credit for. So that, to me, suggests that there's still something in there that's not done. But the thing that kind of contradicts that to me is I think I've seen somebody with 100% completion rating. And so, to me, if the game is 100% complete, how can it be any more complete than that? So, I don't know.
He might be like referring to the nuke scene, where if you abolish all the nuclear stuff from the
Has that been
FOB,
confirmed,
there's a
though?
cutscene that actually plays that people found in the PC files.
Right, I've heard about it, but has that been confirmed? How realistic
The video
is it?
has been uploaded. I saw
Well,
the
no,
video.
I mean the like the activation for it. Has anybody confirmed that there has to be no nukes? Because to me,
Well,
that seems almost impossible.
I
Like
think that's the
literally,
point. I think that's the point where if people were to accomplish this, I mean, the message that would send, where gamers united and actually went out of their way to reduce this thing to zero and have this cutscene play out, like the ultimate reward, like the ultimate accomplishment in gaming. And Kojima, he's been big on nuclear stuff and the deterrence theories and stuff like that. And for him, it's so him to include something like that. I feel like it's so Kojima. Like maybe this will never happen, and maybe that's a message within itself.
but is it
you know what I'm saying?
is it even possible?
You can
Because
in FOB.
because like, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, in FOB you can make nukes, or you can choose to, I think, remove other people's nukes. You can actually do that. You can actually abolish nukes.
Yeah, you can.
But how do you get everybody's nukes? Like I've heard is it correct to say that if you put the game in offline mode that you can't be attacked? Or even in offline mode, can your FOB still be attacked?
And, I mean, if you've already established an FOB online and then play it offline, your FOB can still be attacked.
Okay. Well, that makes a little more sense. Some people have said, I've seen some posts, and that's why I was a little confused. Some people have been like, I got really annoyed about my FOB being invaded, so I just put it in offline mode. Is that just for the notifications, or when you're in offline mode, can your FOB not be targeted?
No, it can still be targeted. You'll get, like, when you get back online again, they'll send you a notification saying that your FOB has been attacked, or if you offended, or
that makes a little more sense, and that might be doable. But like the networking needed for that, like when I go and look at my player list of like who I can attack or whatever, it's only like 10 people based on your espionage rating. I believe is kind of pairs you with people similar to your level. Like, it just seems like an almost impossible feat from a gameplay.
That's the
mechanic.
point. See, that's the message. Like this world we live in, there's nukes everywhere, and if we would abolish all of those, bam, right there, apocalypse prevented. But one person launches a nuke, it's gonna be Fallout 4 basically.
Yep.
Our world is gonna turn into Fallout 4. And it's this seemingly impossible task to get rid of all these nukes. That's the message. That's the point. Where it's like, how the fuck is this even?
I love it.
And if you actually accomplish this and unlock this cutscene and this secret other ending, it's like an ending. It has like a whole credit sequence and Big Boss says something.
I've seen some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing on purpose just because I thought there might be a way for me to unlock it like myself. But
and isn't there some movement going around for people that are trying to? Yeah,
there is
I heard about this.
I heard about there is a movement where people are like, okay, guys, let's do this shit. I don't know. Will it ever happen? Who knows? But what kind of message would that send to the world if people in a virtual environment, and gamers united to abolish all the nukes of a game that has millions of users, who each of whom can make nukes like that? Well, like what an awesome message that would be if such a thing is accomplished. So I think it's like Kojima's sort of test of humanity or something like that. I don't know. He's testing out humanity.
There's two kind of flaws here. One is already on PC. There's cheats for speeding up stuff.
Of course.
I talked to one of my friends, Maniac. I don't know if he's here in the chat today, but he said he's already taken like 11 or 12 nukes off of the PC players, and people are using like a speed hack to just make nukes like instantly. And I think you can only have like 4 at a time, something like that. So it takes 24 hours to make one. So you would assume stealing one and demolishing it really puts a dent in somebody, because it's not like virtual time, it's in-game time.
Yeah.
It's 24 hours in the game. And the other problem is I have a nuke, and if you try and take my nuke, I'm gonna kill you.
That's the message. That is exactly the message.
You're part of the problem, Daly.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
know.
That is
understand. You're
exactly
part of
the
problem.
message.
Well, I'm tired.
Nukes, you try to
tired of
abolish
the
my
FOB
nukes, I nuke you, I kill you. And there's this cycle of revenge. Like that's the whole point. Like
I love it. So
what people
great.
are doing, like your reaction is exactly what Kojima's trying to convey with
I
this
love
game.
it. I love
And
it.
I think that's really cool.
I think
Yeah.
it's very cool too. The only reason why like I sided with the nuke side is because I've spent 20 hours in the game. I got 4 hours left on my nuke, and I've spent 20 hours in the game, not just leaving it on. Because if I tried that once, but if you just leave it there, nothing will happen. If it like you can't like tab out of the game and just leave it.
But see, that's the exact thought process of countries as well. We spent all this time and money into researching and developing this nuke. What, you want us to just throw it away? No fucking way. See, like that, the whole mentality of that, it's all represented in this game.
Went into this.
Like how fucking awesome is that?
Let's ask the hard questions. Young, do you have a nuke?
I actually don't. I haven't gotten enough into FOB yet to actually even develop a nuke, and I actually will not develop nukes. Peace.
What about you, Ronan? You got a nuke, man?
I don't want to talk
Tell the truth.
No, I'm kidding. I actually do not have a nuke.
Do you plan on getting one?
No.
Yes.
You're not
Rally up, people.
You're not
no
going to
more
protect your mother
nukes.
base?
No more nukes.
I tell you, to develop a platform, it's like 75,000 fuel that you have to spend in the game, and you have to wait for the processing and all of this stuff. And it's so annoying when you have all of this fuel and somebody comes and steals it. And you have no protection. My nuke's not done, so I don't know how it works. I don't know if
You could always use a little microtransaction money and speed up the process.
you can't. You can't. I've got some Mother Base coins that they gave me for logging in. Like they give you like 10.
Yeah,
Like,
10.
Yeah.
10
It costs 1,000, but here's 10.
Yes,
Thanks.
exactly. And one of the FOBs that is really really good in the stats is like 1,300, which means you have to buy the 1,000 twice. So they get you there.
Yeah.
Because I was just going to buy 1,000 Mother Base coins and buy one. And then I was like, oh, this one looks good. Oh, it's 1,300. Damn it. I'd have to buy two separate things. But anyways, to close out, so you guys are both not going to do nukes. I think I could probably get on board with that if I maybe thought like, well, the show can support no nukes.
If he doesn't get on board, I'm making a call to arms now. Make him get on board.
Look, I got buddies, all right? I got friends that protect my Mother Base.
Look, man, you got the whole internet against you.
You guys might be popular on PS4 and stuff like that, but I got some PC users behind me. I got a clan. I run a big clan called the 42nd Air Assault Regiment. We're like 50 members strong, and a lot of us play Metal Gear. And
all I'm saying is that there's a movement.
I got buddies, all right? Don't try and take.
All I'm saying is that there's a movement that's growing out there. Right?
I'll get rid of my nuke when it's.
All right.
If the show wants to do it, I will abolish the nuke for the show. Granted,
Got Kim Jong Daly here.
Seriously.
Somebody owes me 750,000 fuel. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
That's expensive.
Well, I think it was. I don't know if it was it $750,000 and then
I think it's 750,000 GMP or something.
and then 50,000 fuel.
That makes
something
more
like
sense. Yeah.
Something like I spent a lot of fuel on that motherfucker. Right? You only get like 1,000 per like hour.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
But it's almost 6, guys. It's time to wrap up. Obviously, we still have
this coffee ain't working.
Obviously,
this coffee ain't working.
We still have a ton of stuff that we can talk about and a lot of things to kind of break down. Young's got an analysis video out. I'd like to point anybody that's still with us in the chat. I believe we still have like 100-something people here with us.
Oh, wow.
I would like to point out that
Wrong with you people?
Yeah, Young has a video up starting kind of an analysis of the M-game stuff, which is pretty cool. You guys should check it out. It's I believe it's one of the newer videos on his channel. It's called 108 defilements.
Yeah, 108 foreign bodies, 108 defilements.
Right. Yeah. Check that video out if you haven't seen it already. It's pretty cool and definitely an informative one. You guys will love that. And Ronan, how's the podcast going, man? You guys back on track, on schedule?
We are getting back on track. The only thing that kind of knocked me off was the hard drive failures and the stuff that's been happening over the past few weeks. So we're slowly getting that back on track, and hopefully I can get those videos uploaded regularly from this point on. Let's not fingers crossed that I don't lose another hard drive. Because I lost twice in the course of a month. I don't know how that happens, but dude, seriously.
Jesus.
As far as the show goes, guys, we got Matt Mercer coming up. We are working on Stephanie Houston again. She'll be joining us. We've got Christopher Randolph coming in October as well as I believe we confirmed. There's an issue here which we're gonna have to work out, but we've confirmed with Chris Zimmerman or Chris Salter, whatever she likes to go by now, for the 16th. But we also confirmed Matt Mercer for the 16th. So,
isn't he Leon from Resident Evil?
He's a bunch of people, man. He's in Metal Gear. He's in.
He's Leon. Yeah, he is Leon.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
He's a bunch of people. He's got a long list of accolades on there, man, and it's surprising because I literally hadn't heard of him like as a name until Metal Gear. I was doing some research on Metal Gear because I thought he was going to be Gray Fox because he voiced the character in Ground Zeroes and then got a credit for it at the end as like a person or whatever. It was like Prisoner 6 whatever, blah blah blah. And I was like, Gray Fox, that's him. He's got a voice, he's got a character, and Matt Mercer's kind of popular, so that's Gray Fox. And I told Young that, and I was like, oh, theory, conspiracy theory. So yeah, I wanted to bring him on and talk to him, and I scheduled him for the 9th, and he was like, can't do the 9th because I'll be at a convention, let's do the 16th. And then I was like, okay, and then Chris Salter messaged me literally the next day, and was like, I'm free on the 16th, and I was like, fuck. So we've got both of them in October, working on a date. Don't know 100%, but we've got Stephanie Houston coming and Christopher Randolph, so that should be fun. And then one of my personal favorites that we just confirmed yesterday is oh wow, why am I going to forget his name?
Starts with an R.
Yes, Reno.
There you go.
But I'm forgetting his first name. It's something R Reggie Reno. I don't know his first name.
Reggie Fils-Aimé, guys. We got
but he's
CEO of Nintendo.
I'm gonna get his name right here. So, but we've got him. He is in Final Fantasy, and more in my direction is he plays a character in a game called Red River. And it is one of like probably the worst. Reno Wilson. There we go. Reno Wilson. He's in Final Fantasy. He's in a couple other games as well, but he's in Red River, which is one of my favorite games, but also one of the worst games ever made. It was like super unpopular. You can literally buy it for like $1. But he plays a sergeant, Sergeant Knox in the game, and he has literally some of the most funny lines and like down-to-earth military sergeant lines that you will ever hear in your life, and he delivers them flawlessly. Like, normally you can pick out some flaws in a character's voice or whatever, but he nails this like he's been in Iraq for like 10 years, and I love it. So I can't wait to talk to that guy about it, and he's also in like Mike and Molly or something like that, a popular TV show. And so it'll be cool to have somebody who's kind of like famous on TV and in video games talking to us. Maybe Ronan, you'll know a little bit more about the Final Fantasy character he is. Do you know who that is?
What are you trying to get at here, Daly? What are you trying to say?
Well, I know you like Final Fantasy.
What are you trying to say?
Because of reasons, right? Nano machines or parasites, son.
You know what? I'll accept that. I'll accept that.
Metallic Archaea, son.
That was some confusing shit. Like, what the Metallic Archaea?
All I know is Kazuhira's Burgers was probably some of the best cassette tapes.
Dude, that was so awesome.
Can I just say, Christopher Randolph and Robin Atkin Downs, they deserve a nod for their performance.
Yeah.
The Huey Exile scene. I fucking loved that. Like, there was not one other time in the game, the whole game, because I criticized Metal Gear for not having a whole lot of pull you in type of moments. But this one, when it was going down, I put the controller down and I was like, this. What is going to happen? He goes, he's the enemy. It's like when he's like, that delivery was, I was like, He said he's the enemy. All right, let it. I'm gonna stand over here. And
Boss, he's the enemy, and he's standing right in front of us.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I was just like,
so good.
Damn.
And he's like poking him with his fucking.
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh man, I loved it. And then Christopher Randolph literally was the most convincing liar. Like I knew he was lying, but I was like, he's telling the truth. Clearly.
Yeah, I know. I was like, man, I think he really believes he's telling the truth. You guys are monsters. You're the crazy ones. Blah blah blah.
It's you and your nuke.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking pissed when Angry Joe from the Angry Joe show said that he hated his voice actor. I was like, no! He's the enemy.
Wow.
Angry Joe's the enemy! And he's standing right there!
I was having a Twitter conversation with, I'm a fan of Angry Joe, I love his stuff, and I was having a conversation with one of his fans, and anybody who knows, like, Angry Joe, he does this kind of thing where he goes, why you do this? And that's what we were tweeting at him, like, why you do this, Joe? Why you do this? So did you get to see his character, Ronan?
Yeah, it's he is Saz Katzroy, the Afro dude in Final Fantasy 13.
Oh.
Yeah, he does his
bird
voice.
The
chocobo bird. Yeah, that's him.
Is he popular? Is that like a cool character?
For the most part, you can say he kind of is. I don't know if the game is all that well received, but
that's true. I've heard some mixed stuff about it.
Yeah, but yeah.
Is that character like prominent, like, or is it just like an additional voice?
Oh no. He's part of your party in the game, he's a significant character.
Awesome. Well, hopefully the Final Fantasy fans will appreciate that. I know he's in a couple other games and a bunch of movies and shows and stuff, so he'll be one of our kind of bigger named actors that we've had on the show, and I'm excited to kind of talk to him about, why do you do voice work if you don't have to? Does he love it? Is he a gamer? Like, I'm excited to ask him that kind of stuff. But anyways, I've drawn out way too long. I just wanted to kind of explain to you what we have going on the show. The beginning of October will be kind of sketchy. I don't know who's coming or whatnot. We might have another Metal Gear cast before we get into the back half with the interviews. So with that said, that's pretty much up for me. Again, I'd like to thank everybody that stayed here with us. I had a fantastic time talking to Donna Burke, and I had an amazing time talking to these two incredibly intelligent gentlemen about Metal Gear and tossing around thoughts and theories and stuff like that. It's really one of my favorite parts of doing the show, is being able to kind of talk about what I think, because I'm that kind of guy that I like to say what I think, and then I like to have other people tell me why I'm wrong, or why they think I'm wrong, or why they don't agree, or if they do agree. I love that kind of stuff.
Daily, you're wrong because reasons.
Right? It just gets the juices flowing, and I'll accept that. Like, reason, parasite, son.
Yeah, parasite, son.
That's the new thing. Like, fuck nanomachines. Parasite, son.
Hey, see, I'm all about nanomachines.
Look,
Senator Armstrong, don't you? Hey, look.
In the wise words of Jim Sterling, I breathe through my skin. So. God damn it!
Anyway.
So we gotta end this show. We gotta end this show.
We're done. So Ronan, anything going on with you that you want to talk about before you leave, buddy?
Hopefully, if I can get a chance to wake back up early on time, or early enough, I'll be able to get my my Mad Max stream going again. I'll keep you guys posted on that.
Awesome.
Also, have some. I'm working on getting some templates done for some YouTube content that I have planned. Just a quick heads up. It's not Metal Gear related, so I'm sorry, Metal Gear fans. You're going to be disappointed. You can get your torches and pitchforks and want to burn me at the stake. I get it.
Who?
Oh, dude.
Such
lust for revenge. My favorite.
That's
such a great scene.
I'm gonna have like the longest intro to a ever, because I'm gonna put all the Donna Burke stuff, and then that's going in there too.
Oh Jesus!
Oh man,
that line.
I'm gonna do the interviewer has been removed, and then I'm gonna have y'all go.
Yeah, that's all I got for me right now. I'll probably have some stuff lined up for you guys in the coming weeks. I know I got some giveaways planned for subs on my channel as well, so looking forward to that. But outside of that, I'm going to go pass out. There's a bed right next to me, and I can just go flop down on that, and you won't hear from me for the rest of the day. So with that said,
no stream today?
There'll probably be a stream. I'll keep you guys posted on the time.
Okay.
Depends on when I wake up. But as always, thank you guys for hanging out and watching at this hour, for those of you who did stay.
Yeah.
And as always, you guys stay classy, stay sharp, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and I'll see you all next time.
And thank you. So, guys, check out Corrupt Ronin at his Hitbox channel. It's hitbox.tv/corruptronin. And if you want, you can add the www dot in the beginning.
Yep, www.twitter.com/corruptronin. Yes.
Yeah, we got your Twitter handle on the overlay as well, so you guys should be able to see all that stuff. But yeah, check out his channel as well and all that stuff. And Yong, anything that you'd like to say before we leave? Any projects we should know about? Anything, stuff like that?
Yes, but
Fallout 4?
I can't think of anything right now because my brain's fried.
Watch that.
I need to go to sleep.
Me too. I got physical therapy in like 4 hours.
Oh, jeez.
Metal Gear stuff, Fallout stuff, gaming.
So we got some stuff in the pipeline.
Stuff is happening.
There was been a slow period, man. People are pounding on your door for videos.
I'll be analyzing parts of the game, all the literary references, the symbolisms, and all that. And if you guys can help me out with that, 'cause I'm sure I'm not going to catch all of them. You guys might notice some things that I don't. So if you do, hit me up in the comments of my videos. But yeah, that's all I can think of right now. I'll think of more when I actually get some sleep and rest and sustenance. But right now, that's all I got to say. Yeah, I can't think of anything right now.
All right, that's it. Say goodbye then.
All right, so with that, I will see you guys next time. Yong out.